I know where there's some, right here in the hall, clerk.
No, Molly, I have enough.
Oh, I forgot to show you the roller. The roller doesn't have any obvious dents in it, and miracle of miracles, it's still flexible on the outside. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah. So look at that. I'll still soften it up, but shoot, it might be usable just out of the box. May not have to buy one right away after all. Presumed I would. Anyway, no point in watching this tedious process. I started the Garrard motor up without the platter on, without anything connected to it. It was pretty noisy, surprisingly noisy and rumbly. And so I got on the internet, the font of all knowledge, and well, first of all, I oiled this motor. It was put together like that, and you can reach the top bearing through here to lubricate it, but you can't reach the bottom bearing to lubricate it without taking the motor apart, which I did do. But I also read a piece about this motor, and the guy said it's two parts that are glued together, and I couldn't figure out what he was talking about until I got this apart. There's this part is obviously the same as that piece, and looks like there's a magnet in between or something, but chunk of graphite perhaps. But that is just flopping around, which would make it terribly noisy. And he said all you do is take it apart, clean it, and glue it back together with whatever glue you like. So that's what I'm about to do, is re-glue this floppy bit back on. I have to take the shaft off first, but I'll do that. It's kind of odd. It's been balanced, as have both sides, but you can see on the surface here where it was glued at one time, and the glue is simply dried up, worn out, something. And I can't think of anything more interesting to glue to than a nice, slick graphite surface. Okay, what I decided to use quickset super glue or quickset epoxy instead of super glue. Super glue is one of those things that bonds really well until it doesn't anymore. So I super glued it on, taped it to center it, it's up here. Then rubber banded it down, and it's time for the big unveiling. It's been curing for about a half an hour. So we'll see if it feels like it's stuck. And it does. It feels centered, feels like it's on there. All right, so we'll reassemble. We need to get a little bit of oil on this lower shaft. Today is garbage day in the neighborhood, so lots of truck noise outside the garage door. Spins a lot more quietly, I must say. turns easily. Okay, what I'll do is get it back in the chassis, and we'll try it out. Motor's remounted. I'll have to clean this out with alcohol before I put the idle wheel back in, but that's gonna, by the way, that's soaking in the 3 parts alcohol to 1 part wintergreen oil solution, just to soften it up a bit more. I suspect it's okay, but I'm just going to give it a day in there. We're plugged in. Seriously, listen to it now. Completely quiet. Boy, that made a huge difference. I wish I had recorded one before it was taken apart, but I didn't. You'll have to trust me. That big metal washer rattling around in there was really noisy. But right now it's stone silent. So great, it worked. Okay, I bonded this plate to the graphite, and then while I was working on the underside, getting it all cleaned up, I ran the motor and it started making noise again. And I thought, well, shoot, maybe my epoxy job came apart. Well, it didn't, but it did come apart at the old joint. So now I have to clean this up and clean this up and glue it at that joint. As far as I can count, though, these should be the last joint I have to do on this motor. Very strange. Not surprising. I should have checked it in the first place, but I didn't. So, lesson learned, I guess.
The makers of Johnson's Wax.